It's for December into the final stretch of 2024. I barely got used to writing the 24 at the end of the date. So now I have to use the 25 real freaking soon. But in the meantime, we got that last month of the year. If you're looking to try and put something in place to get done, you still have a little bit more on your taxes. Now's the time. There's really no more time to waste. You got to get rocking and rolling. Interesting. There's a lot of people out there pushing the same thing, right? Now's the time to move. And I agree with that. But some of them I don't quite agree with their approach. I got an email just yesterday that said, "You disappoint me." So, of course, I opened it up thinking, what the crap? Um, and it's an individual trying to sell his coaching. He says, "If you can invest $499 a month into your real estate business, what are you doing here, bro? You owe it to yourself, and more importantly, you owe it to your family to get your ass in gear and start making some damn money. Make some money for you, make some money for your wife, make some money for your kids, start your one-on-one coaching with so-and-so," puts his name out there. I don't know that berating somebody for $4.99 a month is worth that. And you got to look at the person and decide whether or not that works. Now, do I disagree with? No, I think the person definitely need to get going, start moving, but look at who you're dealing with. How do they approach all these things? What is their persona? What are they after? I mean, this specific person, what drives them? Is that something you'll align with when it comes to your business? How do you align with the individuals you have within your network? And I know that when it comes to hunting down people to work with, like especially your lender or your property management or your insurance, all these things, like you're always going for the cheapest, the price tag. That's why Walmart's so damn big. But we all know what they sell is shit. You buy something there, it's understood that it comes on a different assembly line. You will be replacing it more often than buying something else. So spend the extra, put yourself in a better position with better materials, better goods, better outcome, better technology, if you will. And then when you're getting into your services, the people you're working with, more experience that can guide you away from the problems. An 8% interest rate sounds great up front, but it's not so awesome when that person steers you right off a freaking cliff. So understand who you're working with, understand their experience, understand what drives them. What makes them get out of bed? If you got a person who wants to berate you and tell you're an idiot for not paying $4.99 a month, that may not be the person you want to work with. There's a lot of people out there who coach you in real estate business do a phenomenal job, but don't have to talk shit to you. Sometimes you wanna, but that's not always the best thing to do. Want to make sure that we're guiding people in the best way possible with the best information to make sure that they avoid the pitfalls. So, what do we got this week? As far as the calendar is concerned, the economic calendar, we had manufacturing information come out. That shows that that's up. Manufacturing up. There's a little bit more production going on. Construction spending is up. There's more going into the construction of, I'm going to hope, houses. We also have jobs openings. That jumped. Now, was it a ton? No, but it did jump up quite a bit, 7.37 million to 7.74 million. So, that's nearly 300,000 jobs, maybe somewhere in that range. So that's pretty significant as far as job openings. Doesn't mean that they have actually been taken. So we have an expansion there. Now we know those jobs are going to be needed in the near future once we have the new transition and the analysis of what money is being spent within the government and cutting out some of those jobs that we really don't freaking need, which is probably quite a bit of them. Now, let's take a look at the charts and how we're going on here. What's interesting about the charts this morning, I opened them up, went to my saved charts, gone. Could not even, I had just the candlestick. So I had to go in and rebuild these charts. Luckily, I had, of course, things saved from screenshots and other places where I've talked about it. So this last week, I had these particular floors put in place based upon what we were looking at last week. We had the floor where we bottomed out. Came off it. This was what looked like a pretty strong ceiling. We did break through it with a gap up. We did a lot of locking at that gap up because gaps like to close. What's interesting, it still hasn't closed. We had some negative days that wants to gap up and close negative, gap up and close negative. This was the day after Thanksgiving. Not a lot going on that day, but it sure did have a lot of money activity. But where to go? It went right back down into this area, and now it's staying here. Now I marked this up yesterday, actually day before yesterday. I put this in place. And the reason I put that in place because I had to look back and start seeing the history on this. And this has actually been a substantial It been a floor and a ceiling at one point, depending upon the trade that day. So I put that in there. It seems like it is kind of playing a part in it today. Now, if we break above this and stay above that, we have our next really, really big ceiling. I know we have others in here. We have this spot right here is another area. I'll just put that in. We have another area here that's going to act as a ceiling. We're going to have to break through, and I'll just leave that in place. But we also have our big one, a real big one, which is from when they announced quantitative easing. We know how strong this was. So that is that's what we're staring at right now. We'll just see how things play out. We may see things get a little bit better, but we also know there's a ton of resistance ahead. If it locks and you get a little bit better, not a big deal because it's not a bunch of movement there. But if you lock it and it gets worse, because there is a long fall there, you are protected. So that's one of these things. Talk to us. We'll guide you through it. But there's really not a lot of movement to the top side. There's a lot of risk to the bottom side. Appreciate you guys, and we will talk to you on Friday.